Hello, and welcome to Group 1 presentation. In this video, we are going to introduce to you the trans-theoretical model for behavior change. We will discuss who created this model, its significance, and key features, and how this model has been applied to manage behavior change. The trans-theoretical model for behavior change was created by researchers James Prochaska and Carlo Di Clemente, beginning in 1977. Both, Dr. Prochaska and Dr. Di Clemente, hold PhDs in clinical psychology. Currently, Dr. Prochaska works as a professor at the University of Rhode Island. He is also the director at the Cancer Prevention Research Center. In his research, Dr. Prochaska focuses in clinical and health psychology. Dr. Di Clemente works as professor of psychology at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, where he became the department chair. In his research, he examines the stages of the process of human intentional behavior change, particularly in relation to health and addictive behaviors. By definition, the trans-theoretical model, TTM, is an integrative, biopsychological model used to conceptualize the process of intentional behavior change. Dr. Prochaska developed this theory after observing how behavior change programs failed. He noticed how participants were expected to quit unhealthy habits and adopt new ones immediately. Those that were unable to adopt the new habits quickly were blamed for lack of willpower. Both Dr. Prochaska and Dr. Di Clemente followed smokers for 2 years and analyzed how they progressed and regressed in their journey to quit smoking. From those observations, they concluded that people stopped smoking when the change was intentional, and the decision was made by the smoker. Thus, the trans-theoretical model was born. The trans-theoretical model has proved to be instrumental in a variety of interventions regarding behavioral health changes, such as quitting smoking, managing weight, and stress management, among others. It explains that the change process is a sequence of stages through which people progress as they consider, start, and maintain new behavior. This empowers individuals to make progress in achieving a new behavior, even if they digress to previous stages at times. The trans-theoretical model states that people go through 5 stages as they move towards changes in their behavior. These stages are pre-contemplation, contemplation, preparation, action, and maintenance. In the pre-contemplation stage, the person is not ready to make a change. Quite often, individuals are not even aware that making the change has benefits for them. They typically underestimate the pros of changing, overestimate the cons, and are often not aware of this mindset. The contemplation stage is when an individual is beginning to consider a change. At this point, the person understands that the changed behavior provides benefits, but they're still ambivalent about whether or not they want to make the change. Usually, they are now more aware of the pros of changing, but their cons are about equal to their pros. This ambivalence about changing can cause them to keep putting off taking action. But with a little help and assistance, they can move on to the preparation stage. In this stage, individuals are getting ready to make a change. They are ready to make a commitment to take action to change their behavior, and they develop a plan. They also acknowledge that the pros of making the change outweigh the cons, and they start collecting information and resources to overcome barriers. Typically, individuals are ready to make the change within the next 30 days. The next stage is called the action phase. Individuals in this stage start taking action to change their behavior pattern. They are trying to strengthen their commitment to change and to fight urges to slip back to the old behavior pattern. To stay motivated, people develop short-term positive reinforcement strategies, usually in the form of rewards. The last stage is called maintenance. Here, individuals have maintained the new behavior pattern for more than 6 months. They become more confident in their ability to sustain the new behavior pattern and less tempted or fearful of relapsing. The ultimate goal of the trans-theoretical model is to create an action plan that will assist in preventing relapse and maintaining the new behavior pattern. Often, individuals do not progress through the 5 stages in a linear way. They may progress through several stages, and then relapse back to a previous stage. This recycling of stages is typical, and it usually takes several attempts before achieving long-term maintenance. Relapse should not be viewed as failure, but it should be considered as an opportunity to reevaluate one's triggers, reassess one's motivation for change, reassess the old and new barriers to achieving the goal, and plan for a stronger contingency plan. It is important to recognize the possibility of relapse and acknowledge it as a potential for growth and improvement. There are some key processes that enable an individual to transfer between the stages in the trans-theoretical model. One key factor in whether a person changes their behavior and makes progress is decisional balance. This relates to whether the positives outweigh the negatives of doing the behavior. The second process is called self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is a belief in our own competence to successfully accomplish a task and produce a favorable outcome. If a person feels competent and able to effectively change and adhere to the new behavior, then they are more likely to succeed. Those with low self-efficacy are more likely to stop efforts early and fail. In addition, researchers have identified 10 processes of change, which make progress more likely. They can be divided into 2 categories: cognitive and affective processes, which usually occur during the early stages of the process, and behavioral processes, which occur as individuals progress towards the later stages of the process. Now, let's take a look at a couple of examples of the trans-theoretical model application. In the first example, we will look at a quasi-experimental study that aims to determine how an educational program aimed at increasing physical activity and physical ability will affect the staff of a government center. The program was developed using the trans-theoretical model. The current investigation was conducted on personnel at one of the government center's headquarters. Both the experimental group and the control group had 30 participants each. The 5 sessions of 60 minutes each comprised of lectures, group discussions, training workshops, and the distribution of training manuals and flyers. The following cases were covered during the training sessions. The first and second sessions were held under the heading "What Sport Brings Us." These sessions included public training, aimed at increasing awareness of the advantages of physical activity and its risks. The third session included instruction on the physical activity pyramid, improvement of efficacy, estimation of the required exercise rate for physical fitness, and a description of a wide range of inexpensive or free options for physical activity. In order to advance from the lower stages to the higher stages, training in the fourth session was focused on increasing the subject's efficacy for participating in sports activities and their level of physical activity. The fifth session focused on helping the subjects understand the topics and environmental obstacles preventing the engagement in physical activity. After taking all the sessions, 12-week training programs started. After finishing the educational course, the experimental group's mean rate of physical capability dramatically rose after 3 months. However, this difference was not statistically significant in the control group. Overall, exercise education programs built on the TTM can improve the rate at which participants advance from the early phases of changing their exercise behavior. According to the current study, there is a substantial link between self-efficacy and the 5 stages of behavior change. Based on the results, it was found that all of these structures increased in rate as individuals advanced through the 5 stages of behavior change, from the pre-reflective stage to the maintenance stage, so that the maintenance stage had the highest mean self-efficacy and the pre-reflective stage had the lowest. The study turned out to be successful as the TTM was applied. Here we have another example using the trans-theoretical model. In this example, TTM is used to facilitate drivers learning to improve their unsafe behaviors. These drivers all had a record of crashing 3 cars within 3 years. Despite crashing multiple times, these drivers may not connect their driving behaviors to the causes of the crashes, and they may view themselves as victims, and possess positive feelings about their unsafe driving behaviors. In this case, it requires the driver's intent and commitment to change, and this is where TTM comes into play. The pre-contemplation stage aims to raise their consciousness by applying instructional strategies, such as encouraging self-exploration. Following that, encouraging them to evaluate the pros and cons of their behavior change, and helping them identify social support, can move them toward the contemplation and preparation stages. For the action and maintenance stage, strategies like bolstering self-efficacy, or reinforcing internal rewards, will be beneficial to enhance this change plan. To conclude, the trans-theoretical model is widely applied in behavior change, especially health-related behaviors. In fact, TTM can not only shape new behaviors, but also promote learning. As Driscoll and Berner suggest, individuals intend to learn new skills associated with increasing a behavior, or decreasing a behavior. Therefore, researchers like Prochaska also believe that TTM can be qualified as an instructional theory. Thank you for your attention.